This is some wiring that I dug up from one of my old speaker boxes. And like I said, you need to keep all your old stuff because you don't know when you're going to use it. With this Bosch Audi pump, it has a certain plug-in right here, which of course, unless you owned an Audi, you're not going to have that plug-in. It's nice on this side, it'll show you positive and negative, which is fine. What I've done is on your speakers you get from Crutchfields or whatever, sometimes they'll give you speaker wires with these little tiny plug-ins. And also these little rubber pieces are really nice. What I'm going to do is one of these will be positive and the other will be negative. They'll fit right in here on those two pins, and then I'll slide this rubber up on top of it so they won't hit. And actually I've got another wire that looks like this, but it's longer. So that's the way that's going to go as far as the pump goes. Now these ABA hose clamps, or Jubilee clamps as they call them in Europe, you got to be real careful that you don't go too tight. It will actually crush this plastic before it strips. And I mean that. These are just great clamps. So I put one right here on. The way it'll work is my pump. Of course, these videos will be a little bit long, but you may look at them, or your grandkids may look at them 20 years from now and say, oh, it's a little long, but that makes sense. So the water comes from the radiator underneath the frame rail into the pump right here. Then it's pushed into the bottom cylinder jacket, and this top and the bottom, let's see if I can get a better picture on that. Ouch, damn it. This bottom and the top are two separate water jackets. So basically what we have here is this Tato cylinder, I think it's Tato, which is half partially air-cooled and partially water-cooled, which is interesting because I've only seen them either one or the other. So the water will go in the bottom right here into this sealed chamber, the bottom. It will get swirled around, and then it comes out through this other exit right here, which is only two exits, or an intake and an exit on both of these aluminum things. Then the water will travel up, or fluid, to the top part, or the cylinder head. Then it swirls around there, and then it goes out to where the hot water goes. Now, I had a gentleman ask me and say, well, how come you don't put this 90-degree fitting on right here? One thing is I can't find one. Another thing is 90-degree fittings are great, except for one thing, that when you get them tight enough to stick on your bike or whatever, they have got to be able to stay tight in this position, which is this angle right here, and not strip out or not leak. Therefore, it becomes a problem. Now, what I found with these 90-degree brass fittings is that all it takes is one of these ABA tie downs, or excuse me, ABA hose clamps, Jubilee clamps, to tighten it right here, and it stays on there really tight. Now when I go out to ride and everything, these hoses are going to get hot, cold, expand, contract, and they're going to vibrate, and then naturally they get a little bit loose. So I want to see how well these clamps work. So I'll put on both these, this side and the other side right over here. And I'll put on the tie downs. Then I'll say, okay, I'm done with the plumbing from here up. Then what I have to do is the hose, which I put underneath here just to keep it out of the camera range, will have to come up right through here, right there, and it'll have to come right up to the pump. I have to make sure that the pump is nowhere near the motor, nowhere near the exhaust. I have to make sure that it doesn't hit on this here, which this is broken, so you can see where the right here I can already see a problem. I think the side skirt comes down right here, and I think it may hit against this. If that is the problem, then I need this closer to the cylinder. So what I'll do is I'll take off maybe 1/4 of an inch right here and get it a little bit closer. But if you do put on hose from one fitting to the next, never let the fittings touch. Always leave, don't even let them get real close, because what that does is it's going to make a weak spot right between the hose fittings, and that will wear loose and cause you a problem. So that's where I'm at right now. I just got a bunch more work. My work is really picking up. The nice thing is that I work real early in the morning, and then I have the morning and part of the afternoon off, so I can sit out here in the sun, get tan, and pretend I'm young, which I'm not, and look at my bike. And I really wish sometimes I could put the camera down, throw the fucking camera away, and just build a bike. But I have to take my time and make videos to show all you out there. And who knows, maybe my grandson, who hasn't been born yet, will say, you know, God, look at this bike I inherited from grandfather, that crazy old fuck. I wonder how to work on him. You know, who knows, stranger things have happened. After I get the hoses on, I'm going to have to put on the rear fender right here, take the gas tank and totally clean it out, and I'll show you how to do that, and how to do it correctly, and how not to do it incorrectly. But little by little it's coming together, and I'm just going to be so relieved when it starts. And a lot of it is because, see, this is the 300th video, and if I didn't have to make these videos or anything else, I could just sit back, have a beer, and put it all together. Then I have to make sure all the wiring is correct, if I can remember where everything goes. Anyway, little by little, and after it all gets together, then we're going to do a complete repaint, and I'll show you how to make this look like glass, even though this is really rough right now. Okay, DIOSpeedDEMON, Project DIO, signing off.